things that we've been through. Every great leader inspires, that's official. Once a great student desired before dismissal, to be the spark to ignite the fire.
Welcome to another episode of Share This, Conversations with Ruben. Hi, Ruben.
Hey, Kim.
How you doing?
Hey, I'm lovely, baby. How you doing?
Well, better now.
All right.
All right. Well, today we are here and we're going to talk about leadership without the title.
Yes.
What does that even mean? Can you be a leader without the title?
I think a leader is a natural thing, and we have different types of leaders. You have leaders on a corporate levels, you have leaders of sports teams, you have leaders in homes in terms of parents, you have leaders in social organizations. So leadership is just someone that is taking responsibility for whatever the task is, and they show up and they produce. And why you're giving that title as leader is because people respond to whatever your requests are. You get those results. You have successful leaders and you have some leaders that are not so successful. But successful leaders, generally, they get response, they get productivity out of whatever request that they have. Okay. And so that's why the leadership piece is important. But it's across the board.
Title or no title.
Title or no title. Exactly.
Right. Well, you've been then in that case, you've been in the leadership position for a while.
Yeah, in many facets, in high school, on my football team, for example.
You were captain of the football team?
Oh, you get a chance to be on a weekly basis or what have you for my position. And, on the line, I was considered a leader. And then also, for certain teams that you chosen to be the captain of the week or whatever. So you've had that. Again, leader was someone that could produce, someone that can influence, someone that can make sure that others follow their lead. That is where the leadership came in, and that had that experience early on.
So let me get this straight. If you don't have to have a title to be a leader, you can step into the moment, right? But there are different kinds of leaders, and we're kind of seeing that play out. There's a leadership.
Where are you going with this now? Where are you going now?
Well, I'm not trying to go all the way there.
Yeah, but you open the door.
But we're gonna look at the ocean.
Okay,
we're gonna
the ocean.
See the
okay.
view. We're gonna see the ocean. We're gonna watch the waves.
All right.
So we're in a time where we're seeing very different kind of leadership style play out.
Yeah, authoritarian type.
Well, yeah. I was gonna say, you just wrote an op-ed about this.
I did.
There's the leaders who lead through fear,
right,
by fear, and then leaders who are more positive in how they choose to lead.
Right.
And I know, because we work together, I know the type of leader that I would consider you. And
well, what's that? Tell me.
Well, I'm not scared of you.
You're not ever scared. But I don't want you. I don't want
scared.
I don't want you to be scared.
Of you.
Well, and good.
You're good that way. And I don't think anybody that has worked under, or that's not
for
the right
me,
way.
with me,
for you,
with me.
Take that out too.
Yeah.
But the type of leader that I've seen you step up and step up and be has been someone who is most definitely, you look for positive aspects and try and lead based on that. So tell me more about that, because I've had in my work career, I've definitely had experiences with leadership by fear.
So give us a description of that
of what that was like.
Yeah.
Okay. He wants me to share with all of you my nightmare experience. Worked with a company, and during my interview was told that essentially, even if it's 3 a.m. in the morning, if there's work that needs to get done, the expectation is that I'll be up at 3 o'clock in the morning doing it. Another example is, and if you know, I say this to anyone who's worked there, because it's a very big firm, But they had us all very much afraid of wearing any sort of perfume or deodorant because it could potentially kill the CEO and founder. So one day, walking down the hall, I remember I was about to go out to lunch and I had just put on perfume. And sure enough, I walked down the hall and I passed this man. And I'm expecting he's going to die in the hallway. He didn't.
You sound disappointed.
Well, that's what I realized. They've just got us all running around here thinking that if you wear perfume deodorant or perfumes or colognes, you're going to kill this man. That's fear.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, you're afraid you've essentially now changed your lifestyle approach because of a picadillo
Right.
of this individual. So I've had to deal with that before.
Right.
That's definitely not the experience working with you. You're totally
Right.
fine with cologne.
So you'll find that leaders that lead in that manner are very insecure, and they need to be reassured of who they are or the position that they hold. So you'll find authoritative leaders that make these mandates, if you will, about no perfume wearing or addressing them in a certain way. Those folks, and if you don't do it, there'll be some sort of reprisal. You'll see that those folks are folks that have an insecurity type of issue. They need to be reinforced over and over again about the position they hold, the power they hold, and that sort of thing. But a leader like myself, I consider myself one that I lead the way I want to be led. Follow me? I want to first of all encourage you and motivate you to lead. The real leader is a leader that can motivate without coercion. They don't have to coerce you to do whatever it is, whatever task you're given. They will inspire you to want to do that task gladly. And that's real leadership. When you can convince someone to do something that you're paying them to do, but do it extremely well, or even if they're volunteering for you, but do it extremely well and being very intentional about the work that they're doing. So there are different leadership styles, yeah, and that the one with fear is definitely one of those styles. But I always ask people, when you think about it, is it better to be feared or respected? And some people prefer to be feared, but I prefer to be respected because I think I can go get more mileage out of someone that's working with me or someone that I am leading if they respect me. And I don't have to fear any reprisals in return. But if someone fears me, at some point in time, I might be set up in a way where there'll be something that happens against me.
It's no fun when the rabbit's got the gun.
No fun when the rabbit's got the gun. Exactly. So that's one of the things just to address that whole piece about leading out of fear. Yeah.
That's really good. So now we've talked about, let's take that back to, can you lead with fear and still be a good leader? I mean, is it possible to be a good leader if you're leading by fear?
I mean, you can't just judge everything off by one category. So a leader that has some insecurity may be very strong in other areas. They may be strong in negotiations. You need a good leader that knows how to negotiate for the organization or entity that they're working for.
Fear helps in negotiation.
Well, it helps for those who are intimidated by that. I'm not intimidated by fear. So to me, you come, you bring it, you get it. You know what I mean? But I'm not intimidated by that. But for some, they are. So some aspects of their leadership, they may be extremely strong in. They may have one of the things that you'll see, they may have some charisma, but their charisma is different than a leader that doesn't believe in forcing someone into doing anything. So yes, you can have some success in areas being an authoritative leader. And then you'll have some challenges in other areas as well. As any leader would.
Right.
We have strong points and we have not so strong points.
Right. So let's talk about your leadership. We've talked about a little bit about your leadership journey before,
Right.
but when we're talking about leadership without the title, you touched on this a little while ago, and you said something about people who volunteer.
Right.
There's you were in a leadership position
Right.
that was volunteer based,
Yes, I was.
and it was a big organization.
It was a huge organization.
Would you like to share a little bit more about what that journey was like? Because that was, I think, it was titled.
Yes.
You had
I
an
was
official
the president. I was the president of the local branch. Yeah.
of.
I was just president of the local branch. We're gonna leave it like that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So his name is Reuben Roberts, and you can look that up to see what he was the president of the local branch of.
Okay. So I'm not going to go on the journey, but I'm going to give you an experience that I had. So I was elected first vice president, and the president took ill, and so I automatically moved up into the president's position. That organization had struggled for some time. In fact, we had very few dollars in our coffers at the time. When I came in, I made some strong mandates. This is what we're going to do. This is how it's going to happen. And by the end of this fiscal year, we'll have this much money. I won't say what the amount in our bank. And I tell you, folks were on the floor rolling, laughing at me.
So they weren't scared.
They weren't scared at all, but most importantly, they didn't believe. So remember, one of the characteristics of leadership is you have to build a coalition. People have to trust you. They hadn't seen anything that I'd done in that particular position. They saw the work that I'd done in the position that I held prior to that.
He had two positions prior to that.
Yeah, I had two positions prior to that. They saw the work that I'd done successfully, and I did a lot of work of bringing that organization back to life, if you will. But they didn't see what I could do in that president's position. So after the first meeting, I came back with a big A check.
Okay.
All right.
Got
When
it.
they saw the BA check, then attitude starts to change. You saw folks saying, okay, let's get on board. And that was the motivator for them. So again, you can lead, and you can lead by consensus, or you can lead by fear or whatever. But what happened was I led by example.
Right.
So I set the example, I set the tone, and then I got people on board. People mobilized, and they started working a little bit more than they had been for years. And then as more resources became available, as we secured certain things, then I got more of those still that were struggling to come along. And eventually it got to the point to where, they didn't have to like me, but they believed in me, So the majority of folks had a great connection with them. Some of the folks didn't have such a strong connection, but they believed that if I said it, it was going to happen. And that is true leadership.
They were aligned.
They were aligned, definitely.
Good. So essentially, one of the things, though, when you're looking at leadership in that vein, you came into an organization that had a very set way of doing things.
Yes.
And you changed things up.
The culture shift.
It was a shift in culture.
Yeah, most leaders, if you come into a position, that leadership position, you are going to change the culture of how things go. You're not going to just keep it consistent, especially if it's not producing, and especially if it's not as effective as you would like. So you have ideas, you have vision. That's the other thing about a leader. Leaders are true visionaries. So they have vision about what they're going to do, how they're going to do it. And so as a result of them having that vision, you come up with new tasks, new opportunities, and that sort of thing. So exactly.
Okay. So a lot of the recurring themes of what you're talking about is about self-awareness from a leader's perspective, being self-aware enough to know, for example, you're walking into this organization with a very set way of doing things. You're shifting the culture. So you have to have some degree of self-awareness, I'm assuming. Or is that an
I
improper assumption?
I think that self-awareness is important for any individual, and it doesn't necessarily have to be an individual in leadership. But what it does, if you are an effective leader, then you are aware of what's happening with yourself. So most leaders that I know that do a great job do self-evaluations. They evaluate, after every meeting, they recap it, they replay it in their mind. Any call, when things go well, when things don't go well, you're constantly in evaluation mode because you want to bring your best self to the table all the time. You want to always present your best self. So you have to have an awareness, right? And a part of that awareness is when things go south, when things go wrong, things go right, the first place you look is at self. You don't look outside of yourself to point the finger and blame someone for things going wrong. You don't highlight what something that someone didn't do. You look at how you can make things better. The goal is about being solution focused, in my estimation. This is how I perform as a leader. I'm not looking to blame. I'm looking at how we're going to fix it, how we're going to move forward. I'm not looking here to say who shot John, as the old folks used to say, who did what wrong or that sort of thing.
Right.
I just want to make sure that whatever it is that went wrong, we find a way to resolve the issue without anyone feeling blamed or feeling like they have disappointed me or that sort of thing. I want to make sure that they understand that this is not the way that I'd like to do it or I'd like it to be done. But let's talk about how we can do it together. And is it something that you can do? If not, then maybe we can have someone else perform that task.
Okay. So as a leader, self-awareness, essentially putting ego to the side, right?
Ego is always with you, but you need to suppress, especially if you have a strong ego where it needs to be fed. You need to be constantly fed because then it's all about you. Leaders are about the people that they're serving, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when the leader, it's all about the leader, then it's a reverse effect. Then the people have to reinforce you. But you should be reinforcing the people that you're serving or that's working with you as a leader. You should be leading them to where it is that your agency, your entity, your company, your whatever it is, where they want to go. You should be being the one out front leading them to that path.
So why you talk about service as well. So why does it matter? Because, there are plenty of people who sit in positions, whether it's titled, whether it's volunteer, whether it's untitled. There are plenty of people who sit in the positions, and for them, I don't think there's maybe an inability to separate themselves, take themselves out of the equation and making it about them. Like, I'm in charge, I'm the boss, I'm the leader. This is my house. However it comes down, whether it's in personal life or professional life.
Right.
Like, why does that service and self-awareness, why does it matter? Like, why do you have to have, based on what you're saying, it's almost like you have to have these things in mind, or you have to work through them. Why does it matter?
Again, it's about leadership style, and it's about what your purpose is in terms of leadership. So you mentioned ego in the first time a couple of minutes ago. So when you have an inflated ego, or you need to be stroked on a regular basis, then that can be problematic because again, it interferes with your style of leading folks or giving them direction or giving them motivation to continue to do the task. Service overall, whether it be business, whether it be community organization, whether it be just leadership in the home with your families, whatever it is, service overall is a very important part of leadership. And so when people see that you're willing to lead by example. So for example, I tend to not be the one that will ask my staff, my team, to do things that I wouldn't do. So If I'm not going to do it, why would I ask them to do it? You understand? So I am one that even if my staff is not able to do it well, I'll jump in. Now, I'm not going to jump in all of the time because that's not what I pay you for. I will jump in to assist and teach, train, coach, and till you get it to a place to where you find some perfection in it.
He loves training.
So yes, I do. That's my background, in family therapy. I was a trainer for years. So master trainer. So
It's a
yes.
thing.
So definitely I'll do that. But the key is that you have to believe in service, and you don't have to be a leader to do that in the traditional sense. But I think that is something that reinforces your leadership as someone that's willing to be a servant leader, if you will.
Mm. What I'm getting from all of this is, for me, it's all very familiar because you've been doing this all the time
Mm-hmm.
with, training and coaching. But tell me, I think, you have something that you've maybe been working on that brings all of this together.
Are you referring to the catalyst method?
Why, yes, I just
Ah,
might be. Is that what we're
ah,
calling it now?
yeah, that's what it is. That's what it
Okay.
is.
So people that you've, known and worked with because you've basically been doing this since your therapy days
Yeah,
for all intents and purposes.
yeah, and before, prior to the therapy phase.
Okay.
So the catalyst method is just a method to really get people motivated, really get people to, learn how to be inspired and to really lead in whatever role you play, whether you're a parent, whether you're a coach, whether you're an executive, whether you are a manager, whatever level you are on. This catalyst method teaches you how to really perform that task in a leadership way. And so this is something I've seen across the board in all aspects of my life, with my family, in my business, as an employee. I've seen examples of this, as I mentioned to you earlier, that I've oftentimes done this self-evaluation. And so aspects of the catalyst method has come from that, as well as from actual studies that we researched and that sort of thing. So I utilize those methods to help others. And I've been helping others prior to me becoming in a CEO or president role, helping others with whatever information that I have. But this catalyst method is designed to really help folks on whatever level become better at what they do in terms of leading.
Oh, wow. So one of the things about this that I'm getting from you is it's been, well, not just from this conversation, I can speak to life with you in general,
Yes, yes.
that you very, the structure and assist your favorite word, consistency
That's right.
and clarity.
That's right. Clarity and consistency. That's
And
right.
those are some main components about what you're putting together in this model and making it available for anybody who's interested in improving themselves, right?
Yes.
All right. So we talked today really a lot about how leadership doesn't necessarily have to have a title, right?
That's correct.
And how you just step into that space based on what's required.
Right.
But what do you want to leave the audience with today?
So I just want to make sure that everyone that's listening and watching understand that you are all leaders in some aspects of your life, whether it be with your family, whether it be your work, whether it be with some community organization that you're working in, working or volunteering for. But we are all leaders. We all have an opportunity for leadership in some aspect of our life. And I just want to make sure that you understand that. This catalyst model is something that will help you be successful in your leadership roles, whether it's be with your family, work, whatever position you hold. This catalyst method will be, it's a great example for you to just really show you how to lead in a very proficient manner. But before you leave, I'd like to share this with you. Leadership isn't given, it is chosen every day. Choose wisely. Thank you for joining me today on Share This Conversations with Ruben. I hope that this conversation inspired you today and gave you something that will help you while you're on your leadership journey. I offer consulting and leadership development services through RER Consulting, designed to help leaders grow with clarity and confidence. You can learn more by contacting me at rer-consulting.com. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please like, subscribe, and share. Also, leave a comment. Your comment may inspire some future leader. Until next time, keep leading with purpose.
That's when we come together to set the world on fire, fire, fire. Yeah.